Well, we are grateful to continue on in our summer sharing series. And for those who haven't joined with us in the past few weeks, what we have been doing is inviting members of our community, particularly the elders, to share their story, of God's welcome in their life. And after each sharing, what we've been doing is passing the mic along to the listeners, and you get to share a thought, a resonance. So as you listen to the story, think of what resonates in your own life. Share that resonance, or sharing an affirmation. So something that you appreciate about the story or the person sharing. So as you are listening today, I invite you to listen for that resonance. Listen for that bit in the story that you go, oh yeah, I can relate. Or I've been through something similar. And you'll have the opportunity to share that resonance. We ask that you keep it short because we want to get through all the people. So you don't have to get into like a lot of details. Share what you're willing to share. But keep in mind that, we want to allow everyone to share their resonance and affirmation of our presenter. And today we have the honor of having Elder Susan to share with us. And Susan is our board president, or elder president, and she has been for the last 6 years. No, 5 years. 5 years, going into her 6th, something like that, or maybe more. So yeah, we're grateful that she can share with us today. I'm gonna pray for her and invite her up. Yeah. Dear God, I pray, that you would open our hearts, open our minds, help us to receive what you would like for us to receive. And we thank you for this opportunity to know each other better, to know how people in our community are experiencing you. And I pray that it will help us to see how you are with us, how you want to be with us. And so would you bless Susan? And we thank you for her presence among us. Amen. Well, let's give her a round of support.
Hello. So this isn't my first time up at the mic. I've hosted before, but it's really different to actually have the pulpit to share with everybody. So I want to thank you for listening before I even begin. I'm going to grab my water just in case. Here's my story. I'm tired. I'm exhausted, actually. I have 2 kids, not a lot of family support in town. I don't know what I'm doing. Actually, I feel quite lost. I wish I had family in town. I wish I had a community, a village. I yearn for compassion, kindness, caring, and a church family. I so desperately want to be closer to God again. God, hear my cry for mercy. That was how I felt in 2013. Eric was 2, Maddie was almost 5, and I was invited to F3C again by a friend of a friend. Victor said to me, hey, if you're still looking for a church, come and check out F3C. And so he gave me a business card. By the way, where did I point? That. A business card. Yeah. Chris and I had visited F3C a few times with our baby girl back in 2010. It was a mutual friend of Victor and mine that suggested I check out Victor's church. I really liked the church community. The people were really nice. Preaching was good. But having a baby crying all the time and then passing baby back and forth between Chris and myself, going in and out of the service, it was just too much for me to handle. So we quit. We stopped coming to F3C. So we stayed home, raised our daughter, had a boy. And all that time, we did visit a couple of other churches. They were good churches, not cults. But none of them felt quite like home. Around the time Eric was 2 years old, so this is 2013, I was struggling. I was exhausted from daily child care, lacking sleep, quality sleep, because moms know 3 plus 3 plus 2 is not 8 hours of sleep. I was feeling quite lost and lonely. All my family is in Ottawa. And I was crying, literally crying for help. Now I can hear God calling to me. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. From Matthew 11:28. It is one thing to know God personally and to hear his voice, but without the community, I was lost. I yearned for this community, the one I had while growing up in Ottawa, a church family. And that's when Victor invited me again to F3C with the business card. So we decided to give F3C another try. And I remember watching Eric, the first day in Sunday school. I think Eudora was teaching or leading the worship, the singing. Eric sitting in his little blue chair, and I just kept thinking, I hope he doesn't fall off the chair. Those first few months of re-attending F3C every Sunday at Dunbar Community Center, I cried. I wept because I felt like each sermon, each song, God was speaking to me. He was calling to me, and I'd followed him to our new home. Sorry, I get emotional. I might start crying. A bit of recap for those who don't know. Thank you. I grew up in Ottawa in the 70s. Yes, you can do the math. There are not a lot of Chinese people in the 70s in Ottawa. We were an immigrant family. My mom was from Hong Kong, my dad from China. We lived with my grandpa until he passed away when I was 11 years old. My mom brought us to church every Sunday from as early as I can remember. My dad was never a believer. I don't think he accepted Christ until the day he died. I count myself fortunate for having grown up in a church. That's me in Sunday school. Do you know which one I am? Back row. Bowl haircut. My brother and I went to Sunday school. We learned the Bible stories, David and Goliath, Noah's Ark, Jonah and the big fish. We sang Sunday school songs. We had teachers that spent a little bit of their time with us each Sunday. We had great potlucks, so much good food, I remember. Most importantly, we had a church who supported our family throughout our ups and downs. By the way, my sister came along much later. She's 9 years younger than me. I didn't put a photo of her up. As a teenager, when my parents divorced, church became my lifeline. Through Friday fellowships, Bible study, and church activities, I still got to experience the family feeling the community. And I received love from my brothers and sisters, aunties and uncles in Christ, and love from God. God became my father in lieu of an earthly father. When I was in high school, I got to go to a teens conference. This is a big thing in Toronto. But coming from Ottawa, Toronto feels like a really big city. This teens conference was mainly for Chinese Christian churches, but it was massive. There were like over 700 plus teenagers, Chinese Christian teenagers, all gathered. 2 full days of keynote speakers, workshops, high energy activities, and lots of singing. There, you were challenged to deepen your relationship with God. And it made a lasting impact on me. It's where I heard for the first time the song, Come Unto Me, which is based on Matthew 11, verse 28 to 30. It was a cathartic moment. Perhaps I was caught up in the emotions of the 2-day conference, but I realized it was too hard to do things on my own, and I was weary of what life had brought. And it was time to give it up to God. In Him, I found rest for my soul. F3C has been our home church since 2013. My kids grew up here. In Sunday school, sang songs about papayas and bananas. We've experienced the generosity of many. We've been invited into many people's homes for meals and fellowship. The potlucks were always good. It's always too much food, good food. Our family settled in quite nicely. And this was a great sense of relief for me because I don't like change. I love comfort of routine. I like it when things are just perfectly. Then one day there was an announcement, Sunday worship, seeking new elders. Please pray over this calling. Speak with Pastor Ted if you'd like to nominate someone. So I prayed, and the answer came to me. I knew who I was going to nominate. So I spoke to this person who I thought would be perfect as a lay elder again. But they declined. So I told Pastor Ted, hey, I spoke with this person, but they said no. And Ted's reply was, what about you? I laughed in his face and then walked away. It took some time from that initial invitation for me to say yes to eldership. I think God was calling me to step way out of my comfort zone and to put my trust in Him, to not be afraid of change and to allow Him to lead the way. See, the thing was, I had many fears. Was I scared? Yes. Was I worried I wouldn't do a good job as an elder? Yes. Was I afraid I'd disappoint others or disappoint myself? Yes. What if I let people down? I didn't know all my Bible verses anymore. I couldn't even name all the books of the Bible. I didn't go to Regent. I don't think I'm set for elder. But fortunately, I spoke with a friend who, as the wife of a previous elder, I thought she might know a thing or two about what's it like being an elder. I asked Lillian what she thought. And her reply was, yeah, Susan, I'll tell you the truth. If you're going to be an elder, being an elder at F3C is the best. It's not like other Chinese churches. It's not as serious. There's no pressure. Just be you. So that was a boost of confidence I needed. And in 2018, I accepted the invitation. During my first term, I learned a lot about F3C, a lot about ministry. And I drew closer to God as I worked alongside our two fantastic pastors and our lay elders at that time, who were Vincent Chan, Vincent Ng, and Dave Winstone. That first term, I was eager to serve and to learn, wanting to make a difference, striving to do God's work. My cup was full to the brim, and I was happy to let it spill over to others. The joy of doing God's work just couldn't be contained, and I felt truly blessed. That was until March of 2020 when, what happened? COVID. COVID was declared a global pandemic, and everything changed for us. Unfortunately, F3C is a young church community, not me, F3C. F3C is a young church community, meaning we were able to adapt quickly with technology. We were able to connect as best we could with one another, aiming to still provide that sense of community, the fellowship, the time with children on Sundays even, and spreading God's love in whatever way we could. It was a particularly challenging time personally. My young children were trying to make sense of the new restrictions, no school, no friends, no play dates, no leaving home. My mother-in-law suffered a stroke around that time. She was hospitalized. We had to be extra careful of our bubble so as to not spread an infection to her. I had to homeschool my kids and I had to supplement all that online learning. To this day, Madame Sung is the worst teacher they have ever had. Everything was changing. There was no routine. Nothing was comfortable anymore. To me, this is my worst nightmare. And as a mom, I had to hold everything together for everyone. Once again, I find myself falling apart at the seams, unable to hold it all together. I found myself crying out to God. And this time, he drew me to a familiar passage, which Diana read out for us. Psalm 86. I remember thinking, how are we going to get through this? And God's answer to me was to take a gamble. I'm not talking about casino here, but to gamble on our church. He wanted me to go all in with our church and with him. He wanted me to spend more time in prayer, seeking God, spend more time with my church family and my church friends. And I feel like my gambling paid off in more returns than I can count. I got through COVID because of all of you. And a big thanks to my Costco bag size of chips. It was a challenging time for our eldership too, but we allowed the Holy Spirit to guide us through the unprecedented times. We made it through, and we landed here at Granville Chapel. I eagerly sought my second term as elder, determined to continue the work that I started, eager to do more, leaning into whatever it was that God had in store for me. As I drew closer to God, the more humbled I felt because I could see his work before me. In the people that have come to F3C and stayed, the people who have come and left, and the things that we have all weathered together. There has not been one wasted moment. Many seeds have been planted here. Many plants have been watered. And we have seen growth in people's faith and the depth of community that exists here. It is truly special. And it really is an honor to be able to watch God at work. Then about 2 years ago, I felt the tide turn. Now, around this time, I had a full-time job. Kids were now in high school. Both have lots of extracurricular activities. My mother-in-law's health took a turn for the worse again, and I was fully in sandwich generation mode. I was being pulled in many different directions, and once again, the cracks appeared, and I was faltering, or dropping a lot of balls, as they say. In fact, I had entered a stage of desolation. Desolation starts turning us inward onto ourselves. It's a spiral of negative feelings. Ends up cutting you off from the community you once know. Sometimes it makes you want to give up things that you once enjoyed. It starts taking over your thoughts. And it starts distancing you from God. It really drains you of energy that you had. In addition to feeling weary and heavy-laden, feeling poor and needy, this is a particularly dangerous time because that's when the enemy starts to creep in. And the self-doubt begins. Thoughts of, I don't think I can do this, or I don't know what I'm doing anymore, or I can't do this, to thoughts of, I'm not good enough, and I am not worthy. Was this due to my past wounds from childhood, growing up in Ottawa as a second-generation Chinese person with a grandfather saying to me, you're a girl and you're not as good as your brother? Or that everything was my fault. Anytime I had an argument with my brother, it was my fault. Then I'd get locked in the bathroom as punishment. Was it from being abandoned as a child when my parents divorced? Was I partly to blame for the failure of their marriage? Was it because of past failed friendships? To this day, my neighbor doesn't talk to me because we had a falling out during COVID. Is it because I'm underperforming at work or underperforming as an elder, not being there as a friend? Why is it that when things get difficult, I always struggle with the same questions, the same negative thoughts? And here's the biggest secret. It's because all my life I've struggled with my self-worth. It is intrinsically tied to how well my life is going. When things are going well and going smooth without bumps in the road, I feel good about myself. When things aren't going well, the self-doubt seeps in and I begin to feel worthless. I feel like no one understands me. I feel like no one loves me, and I don't particularly love myself. It's a real pity party that just keeps spiraling. And where is God in all of this? He's actually right here, right next to me. And he's saying, I love you as you are. You don't need to change a thing. You are enough. And his words are heard through many of you to me. Once again, with God's love and care, and with your love and care, I will pick myself up, brush the dust off, and feel the warmth of his love. This time of desolation will pass, for I am a child of God. I was chosen by him, created by him, and loved by him. God has heard my cry for mercy. And all I have to do is lay my burdens at his feet and accept the love that he so freely gives. It is my hope and prayer that everyone can accept this love that he so freely gives. I'm going to leave you with a video, a song that has really, truly resonated with me for the past while. Thank you.